All right, guys, you do not need more leads. You need to start thinking like an investor. Right now, you're sitting on a pipeline of dead leads, low equity, weird structure, no spread, deal types that you've passed up 100 times. But what if just one of these a month could turn into $50,000 in equity, passive income, long term cash flow, and wealth? Listen, wholesaling, it's great. But if you're not keeping at least one deal per month, you are not building freedom. You're building somebody else's legacy. My good friend today, William Tingle, he's been doing this for 20 years, over 20 years, using subject to and seller financing to ethically, legally, and predictably turn those throwaway leads into portfolio pieces. He's helped thousands of investors stop grinding for volume and start stacking equity like real wealth builders. This is not theory. This is the playbook for converting your existing lead flow into cash flow without needing any banks, credit, or cash for approval. Listen, if you're ready to stop chasing checks and start creating wealth, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Closers Club, where serious investors come to learn the tactics that are working right now so that they can build real wealth and true freedom. Let's get right into it. William, welcome. Let's jump right in. Most investors, they're sitting on just this gold mine that they don't even know about. All those leads that a lot of people are just calling dead, they're actually deals that they could put into their portfolio. So let's get really tactical to start out here. What's the biggest mistake that investors make that keeps them from turning those just low equity leads into real wealth?
Well, first of all, thanks, David, for having
Yeah.
me. I'm really excited to be on today. But with regard to the deals, most people go into that thing, especially wholesalers. They
Mhm.
really make an offer 60 cents on the dollar,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And man, a lot of people that call me, they don't have that kind of equity in their house.
Right.
They have a problem. They need to get rid of it. But
Mhm.
what can they do? I talked to a guy. In fact, we got a house under contract this past week. The guy said, I've had offers, but man, it's less than my mortgage. So we
Yeah, that
were
doesn't
able
work.
to, yeah, we were able to get the house under contract, and that'll probably wind up being a six-figure payday for us because we know how to structure it and make money with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it happens a lot.
I love that. And I think that so many people, even me, when I was first starting out, we're out there just hustling, just wanting that quick check, that quick wholesale check, whether it's 5,000 or 40,000. But really, at some point you're going to stop wholesaling and you need to have something built up, right? Some kind of retirement plan. And I think holding these properties is really one of the best ways.
Well, at least some of them. Jody and I, this is our primary way to do business is
Yeah.
wrapping and creating cash flow. I like to
Mhm.
say I can get the best of all worlds. I get a little money up front like a
Right.
wholesale deal. I get
Mhm.
cash flow every month like a landlord without landlord tenant headaches.
Mhm.
And then a few years down the road, I'm going to get another check on the back end that's sort of like a rehab.
Mhm.
And this last deal we did is a perfect example of that.
Okay. So your strategy is you're buying it with owner, and maybe let's just talk about that before we even do that. Let's talk about owner financing because I feel like it's this umbrella term that kind of includes a lot of things. For you, what do you consider owner financing?
The seller financing in
Seller
my
fi-
world means that I'm buying a property typically subject to the existing mortgage. I'm not
Mhm.
getting the seller to finance it for me, but what I do with that property is I sell it with seller financing, which
Got
for
it.
me is on a land contract. There are a lot of ways to do it. Some
Mhm.
states it's wraps. If you're in Texas, you just about have to do a wrap.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a contract for deed or a land contract. So we sell that to an end buyer that's going to live in the house, love it, raise
Mhm.
their kids, have a dog, do all
Yeah.
those homeowner things, and they'll pay us every month, and that's
Right.
how we, uh, you know, put together cash flow.
Right. Is there a reason you prefer to use a contract for deed or like instead of selling it to them and holding the mortgage?
Well, there's a lot of advantages to that. The main ones are, well, first of all, buying subject to, and I'm sure we'll get to this later, the big due on sale issue.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
is that a problem? Well, let me just say I've done this for 26 years. I've never had a loan call due. Maybe I'm just incredibly lucky, but I think some of that has to do with how we structure our buy side.
Okay.
Use of trust, properly insuring, doing things like that. And then, of course, making the payments. Uh,
That's important.
but
Yeah.
but think about it. If I bought a house subject to from Bob and I sold it to you on a wrap and
Yeah.
gave you legal title, and a
Mhm.
couple of years down the road, the mortgage gets called due.
Yeah.
For me to fix that, if I can't fix it through negotiation with the lender,
Yeah.
I've got to involve you in unwrapping that thing so I can refinance or do some stuff. Well,
Right.
you're a homeowner, you're not an investor, so you're not
Yeah.
very savvy on what's going on. But when I knock on your door and say, listen, David, we got a problem, man, you're
Mhm.
probably going to freak out. What do you mean? Am I going to lose my house?
Right.
So, selling on a land contract and keeping legal title, if I had a due on sale issue, I wouldn't have to involve you. I could fix it and you would never know.
Right.
Two, what if my deal has equity still built in?
Uh-huh.
I need to tap that equity down the road. If I
Mm.
sold on a wrap, I would have to involve you again. If I'm on a
Yeah.
land contract, I can go refinance, pull out equity, get a second mortgage, do whatever I need to do, and it doesn't
Mhm.
affect you. So there are a lot of reasons we do
I
it.
love that. Yeah, for me, I always just like to keep control of the deal, but yeah, I never really thought about that. I've actually had 4 loans called due, but all for, like, weird reasons. The
Right,
one seller, she filed bankruptcy.
right.
Let's see, what was one of the other ones? Oh, the other one, it was an, is it FDA loan? No, no. FH, nope. What is
I
that?
know.
One of the local, like, agricultural things
Right.
anyways, and, they just kept sending mail to the house and it was getting returned. So they sent an investigator over. And then I just had one guy that was just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and he called the bank and said I sold it. He was just, no matter what we had him sign and all the disclosures, he was just determined to do that. So yeah, it does happen. So that's why I agree. I like to keep control like
Right.
that so that um if there's a problem, you can fix it. Now, so you prefer to sell this way instead of keeping them as a rental?
Man, I'll tell you what, but the first 10 years I was an investor, I did
Mhm.
everything under the sun. We did Section 8 rentals
Yeah.
specifically, regular rental, because that's a different model.
Yeah.
But regular rentals, we sold on lease option. Man,
Mhm.
that's a nightmare. And gosh, but we did a bunch of different stuff. And what
Mhm.
I found was I just don't have the temperament to be a landlord.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they give you a 1 month's deposit. They move into your house. If they don't pay you, there's not much skin in the game.
Yeah.
But people that give you 10% down generally try to make things work out. That's been what
Mhm.
I've discovered. So
Yeah.
it's just a better scenario.
Yeah. So when you're selling these on the land contract, or do they have the ability to like refinance out and purchase it, or do most of them go the full term? And how long of a term are you doing?
We do a 40-year term
Whoa. Okay.
because, I mean, you can, and it makes the payment a little bit lower. And, I'm looking for long-term cash flow. Now,
Yeah.
most people will refinance within 5 or 6 years. I mean,
Hmm.
most people move or refinance during that time period.
I
So,
gotcha.
yeah, a few will stay and pay because a lot of people don't ever fix whatever gives them bad credit to begin with.
Right.
But the majority we find will
Really?
refinance within 5 years or so. Now, can they? Absolutely. We don't put any gotchas in our
Hmm.
financing. There are no prepay penalties.
Yeah.
There are no balloons. We don't do any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, we make it easy for
I love that. What type of interest rates are you selling on?
them. Right now, we're
Mhm.
selling just a tad above AAA credit borrowers, 6.5, 7%.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, a AAA borrower could buy a house from us between
Yeah.
the fact that, first of all, the interest rates are fair. Secondly, our closing cost to close a seller finance deal, $750.
Hmm.
That's what our title company
Yeah.
charges us to close it. So that's what we pass on to our borrowers. And I'll tell
Hmm.
you, I see people all the time that pay thousands of dollars in closing costs to buy a house, but we
Yeah.
don't do that.
Oh, I mean, I remember what I paid on the last house I bought was it was 180,000. I feel like I paid like 15 grand or something. Like
Yeah,
by the time it was all
right,
said and done, I had to bring a lot of cash
right.
to closing. So it's a lot. For me, I've always kept them as rentals.
Mhm.
Because and this is probably just where we're a little different. It didn't bother me to be a landlord. Now I have a property
Yeah,
manager,
yeah.
but I just didn't want them to ever like the payments to stop. I
Sure.
wanted the payments to keep going forever and ever. So that was just the only difference for me and how we did it in our business.
Yeah. Well, not just the temperament thing. Here's a thing that's been happening now, and I'm sure you can relate to this too. If I'm a landlord, and let's just say that my cash flow is 500 bucks a
Mhm.
month, which is really good cash flow for most landlords,
Yes.
taxes go up next year. Taxes go up, insurance goes up. What happens to your cash flow? You
Yeah.
can't automatically just raise that rent.
Right.
If taxes and insurance go up on a property that I've wrapped or
Mhm.
seller financed, guess who gets that burden? My cash
Mm.
flow stays the same.
I love
So I
that.
don't have those worries. Now, I understand the tax implications
Sure.
and everything else, and I'm cool with that. But For me, the trade-off is at my age, I've been doing this for a while now. I mean, I'll be 64 on my next birthday. So,
Dude, wow.
yeah, so I'm an old guy.
I thought
So,
you were my age, young buck at 54.
oh man, for me, it's about freedom. It's
Yeah,
just about the ability to travel and go and do
right.
and not have. And I know you can do that with a property manager, but a
Mhm.
couple of the best deals I've ever bought before were from people that had property managers. Didn't work out well for them. You may have
Oh,
a good one.
tons of them, tons,
You
so
may
many.
have a good one, but I
Well, yeah, right now I'm sitting on four that are empty that I have to get serious about getting them filled up after the holidays. But yeah, that's definitely a thing is the property's going vacant. So how often do you have people default and just kind of walk out and then you've got to go in and fix them up and remodel?
4 or 5% of our land
Really?
contract buyers will give the house back. Here's the truth about it, David, is that most people want to pay their obligations.
Sure.
And I've heard people say, well, the more you get down, the better your chances they're going to stay and pay. You and I, and I'm not sure about you, but for me, certainly, I got a horrible divorce about 15 years ago.
Hmm.
But you can have great credit, pay all your bills, and have something happen to you
Right.
where you
Life
can't
happens.
pay them anymore. And I find that happens just with people in general. Bob can be in one of my houses. He's been a great payer for 4 or 5 years, and either he loses his job or his wife leaves him, and all of a sudden he can't pay anymore.
Right.
But most people want to pay. But we find that our default rates are going to run right about what regular foreclosure rates are, about
Really?
4 or
That's
5%
fantastic.
right now. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Now, are you buying just in your home market? Or are you buying nationwide and doing this? Like, how does this model work?
It'll work anywhere. I actually started doing this exclusively when I lived out of the country. I lived in Belize for almost 10 years. So
Did you
when,
really?
when I got a
Dude, every
divorce,
time I talk to you, there's like a new surprise.
when I got a divorce, I moved out of the country. And
I
I said,
get
I
that.
love real estate. I want to keep doing it. How can I
Mhm.
do it totally remotely? And this was
Yeah.
before remote was cool.
Uh-huh.
This was like 2009, 2010. So I
Wow.
said, I don't want to be a landlord. I can't rehab. I can't monitor what's going on. So what can I do? Well, I can still buy subject to. I can still sell with seller financing. I just
Yeah.
need people in the locations. So I did it remotely for several years. Now, Jody and I live in Northwest Arkansas, and we do everything we do in a 2 county area. I
Mhm.
love local. I can sit down at the kitchen table with sellers. It's a lot easier to get rapport. You can get a lot better deals doing
Mhm.
it that way.
So if you're looking for subject to, that means you're going to do a specific type of marketing, right? Because what we put in the top of the funnel is what comes out the bottom. So what are you finding right now is the best marketing channel? And then, how are you targeting them? What are you pulling for lists or how are you going about it?
We've done tons of marketing over the years, 100 different ways to market, anything from bandit signs
Mhm.
we even did text messaging for a little while when that was a
Yeah.
hot thing. We do two marketing methods right now. We run radio ads,
Oh,
which
okay.
do really well. And
Mhm.
it does a couple of things for you. It gets you leads, but it also gives you immense credibility in your market
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
people hear you all day, every day. But our main source of deals is door knocking. We door
Really?
knock people in foreclosure. Yeah.
Okay. So so you're going out and door knocking or you have a team that does it for you?
Man, our team, Jody, myself, and a VA that lives in Nigeria. So he's not local, but he does a lot of data stuff for us. But yep,
So
I
you
go
so
out
you're out
every,
knocking on doors.
I do.
Dude,
I go out
I've
every Thursday.
I've done this 20 coming up on 24 years. I've never knocked on a door.
I love knocking on doors. But
Really?
our approach is a little bit different. I'm not knocking, asking to buy. I'm
Mhm.
knocking, saying, hey, my name's William. I'm here today because I understand the bank's trying to take your house, and I wanted to see if I can help.
Mhm.
How can you help me? Well,
Right.
tell me more. Do you want to keep your house or do you want to sell it? Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to stay. And if they say they want to stay, I'll try to get at their kitchen table, get on the phone with their lender, and find a way. Loan
Yeah.
modification. What can we do to help Bob stay in his house? And
Mhm.
we have a lot of people keep their homes. We don't even buy
Really?
them, but that's our approach. That's how it works. Some people want to sell, and if they do, we'll talk about buying.
Really? Is there ever like people don't want to answer the door? Because we used to market to pre-foreclosures with
Yeah.
foreclosures daily way back in the day. And like we found they were difficult to get a hold of because everybody's calling them, right?
Yeah.
Agents and
Right.
hard money people and investors and refinance and pull out HELOCs and do all this stuff. So do they kind of have that sort of head in the sand ostrich thing? Like, no, 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 I don't really have a problem. Everything is fine here. Everything's good. Nothing to see here.
You bet. A lot of
Yeah.
people won't answer the door. We have an envelope that we leave that's got a letter inside. We stick it inside the door frame. And then a lot of the ones that answer, I've got it taken care of. So we switch right into plan B mode. Okay, that's great. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear you got it taken care of. But we talk to a lot of people that have it taken care of and things don't work out. Let's talk about plan B. The name of our company is actually Plan B Property. So,
Really?
but we talk to them about a Plan B. So we follow up with them. We keep them in our CRM. We have conversations with them. Sometimes Plan B becomes your Plan A. So
yes,
that's what we do with that.
Very often. So how quickly are you getting a hold of these people? Are you using, like I said, back in the day, I had Foreclosures Daily, which every night at 10 o'clock told me where list pendants were filed or who it was filed on. So are you hitting them pretty quick, like as fast as possible, or what do you tell me what's going on?
Foreclosure process in Arkansas is usually between 60 and 90 days, just depending on
Okay,
the
so you're quick.
factors with, I guess, the lender and their processor. But my VA pulls foreclosure listings every Tuesday night. When I wake up on Wednesday morning, I've got the latest notices of default straight from the county website. I go through, process those, and on Thursday morning, I'm knocking on the door. So within 7 days of it being filed at the courthouse, I'm knocking on their door.
So what are we seeing? And I know you made a post the other day. What are we seeing with foreclosures? I see some people like, it's the end of the world. Foreclosures are up 300% from like the lowest negative numbers ever. So like, what are you seeing and what are you feeling in Arkansas?
Well, that sounds, I don't know, dramatic to say, oh man, they're up for the 9th month in a row. And they are, but they're historically at some of the lowest rates we've seen since I've been an investor. So still, I'll knock on about 10 doors a week in my two-county area. It's just not that many. But for us, it doesn't have to be, because a certain percentage of them are already vacant. And these people aren't interested in Plan A. I mean, they've moved on. Those people don't want to keep their house. That's the real gold in door knocking. And that's why I tell people, I know you like to text, but when I go out door knocking, I find the houses that they've already cleared out of. All I've got to do is skip trace them, find them, knock on the doors, talk to the neighbors, talk to their relatives, and say, listen, I understand you moved on. Let's put a little bit of cash in your pocket, and then we can have the house if we want.
I love that. And then what percentage of leads are coming in, like from radio and from the other stuff?
Probably a third of our leads will come from radio, but the majority, 2/3 of our deals come from door knocking.
And those, the ones coming from radio, those could turn into anything, right? Because they can't.
It can be anything. It can be a rehab, and we'll occasionally do one if the numbers make sense. So we've tried to wholesale some stuff here, but these guys are so tight they don't want to pay anything. And for our average deal, we'll make over $70,000 because we really cherry pick.
Right.
I'm not interested in high volume. That's not me. I want to do.
That's a younger man's game.
15 deals. And that's what you can't tell these people. Listen, if I'm out here hustling every day and I'm doing, I don't know, 10 deals a month, but I'm only making $10,000 a piece. Gosh, I can do one a month and almost match what you do with a lot less work.
Right. Yeah, and I get that. Everybody goes through seasons or phases of their life where you want to be doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, as we get a little older and have a little bit of a foundation underneath us. So let me ask you this, because I feel like I could talk to you forever, and I know we're going a little bit long. But tell me about the one house a month, right? You've got it kind of behind you, the 12-house blueprint. Like, tell me that, because that's kind of the thing that I think you're the most known for.
Yeah, because most people that I meet, and you and I know the numbers, we've been doing this for a long time, 90+% of people who are interested in real estate never buy a house.
Right.
Why don't they? Is it just not for them? Well, listen, I know people that have been wanting to be an investor for decades and they just never do it. Why? There are a lot of reasons. They follow the wrong person. They have shiny object syndrome. It's the whole. It's the hustle culture today. It's buy, go. Most of these 90%, just a couple of solid deals a year would change their life.
100%.
It really, and so start thinking of it in smaller terms. When I lived out of the country, I lived in Belize, man, you can live like a king down there for $5,000 a month. So, and I was getting a little bit older, and I said, I don't want to work so hard. What can I do? So I want to buy about one dang house a month.
Yeah.
And what I did was I put the numbers together and said, listen, if the average home I buy is 300,000, it's worth 300, and I'm buying it with little to no equity for 280. I mean, who can't buy those deals all day long? But I
Yeah.
can wrap that thing and average $500 a month in cash flow. If I do one of those a month in a year, I'm making over 70 grand a year in cash flow. Well, that's better than the median income for a family in this country right now. I
Right.
can retire in a year. It's just, and continue to do that within 3 years between my cash flow, my cash outs, and
Yeah.
my down payments. I'm making over $500,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but most of the people I know, $500,000 a year, they're okay.
They're doing okay. Yeah, you don't have to be a billionaire. Everybody thinks you got to have, $100 million. Dude, it's not that complicated to get to where you need, and I love that. That's what you're teaching. William, where can people find you? First off, because I know this is a ton of stuff, and I'm 100% going to have you back because I really want to get more into down payments on sub twos. Or there's so much that I think we need to talk about because there's so
Yeah.
much
Well,
baloney out in the marketplace.
yeah, WilliamTingle.com. I'm there. I'm on YouTube. We've got about 1,000 videos on YouTube that
Do
pretty
you?
much teaches everything we do. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I think our sub2 TV, SUB, the number two TV.com will take you straight to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm on Facebook and everywhere else. So, yeah, I'm
Nice.
pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a great holiday, but I definitely want to get you scheduled and maybe we can make this more of a regular thing because there's so much to talk about. It's such a great strategy, sub two. The idea is that we can step in and we can help sellers who are in absolute distress and losing sleep over these properties at night. And this is what sub two was made for, it's for to be able to come in and, and just provide assistance and our expertise. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, David. I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it. You guys have a great